it's a really exciting time for the football club at the moment. It's turning out today, all the media here. It's good to be the big good news story in footy at the moment.
Yeah, it is. I think it's great for our fans, and it's terrific that the club's getting some exposure on a positive front, and it is an exciting time for us. But as players and coaches, we've just got to keep focusing on the facts. It's no different to 12 weeks ago for us. So, but for our fans and supporters and sponsors, and it's outstanding, and it's what we've craved for a long time.
You may have just answered that a little bit, but how are the players responding to being in what you'd call big games, what people outside would call big games? Does it make any difference to them, do you think?
I think look, whether it makes any difference to them week to week, I'm not sure, but it's certainly terrific for their long-term development, because you need to be able to stand up under pressure, and we've got ourselves into a position pretty early on where our finals destiny was in our own hands, and every time that challenge came up, we've answered that. So that's been really pleasing, but we know the challenges keep presenting themselves. Anytime you come up against a Ross Lyon coach side, you're going to be in for one hell of a challenge. So Fremantle at the moment are playing footy that's, I think, worthy of a top 4 standing, and so they're going to be a real challenge. And you can say that's at Etihad, but they've put that one away as well, because they've played well at Etihad this year, and they're going to be a great challenge.
But what do you say to the boys in the fact that you talk about destiny, but they've now sort of established what the destiny is going to be this year? But how do you sort of talk to them about the fallout from that?
Oh, well, I think that the facts are for us is that the continuity's been really good. We've been fortunate thus far on the injury front. We'd love to have a couple of other players fit and available and in our side, but the continuity is the theme that we've been pushing, and that doesn't change this week. So we've got to make sure that while everyone says we're going to play finals, that's not assured yet either. So we've got to make sure that we put in a good performance this week and keep playing the style of footy that we've been playing, and make sure we can overcome a terrific defensive side in Freo.
How different do you see the playing styles between the two sides?
Look, the fundamentals of footy don't change much. So when you've got good sides, we've got a contrasting style. There's no doubt about that. But that being said, the fundamentals of winning the ball in a contest are still there. Fremantle are doing that really well. I think their midfield's as good as it's looked all year. I don't think there are too many players who they've got out of their side who they think would make a significant difference. So they're pretty close to their best, and they appear to be playing the style of footy that Ross wants them to play. So when they're doing that, they're tough to beat.
Daniel Wells, mate, is he got to go?
We're hopeful. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, everyone knows we're a better side with Daniel Wells in it, and we're really keen for him to come back in. We're certainly not treating this game as one where we'll rest him. If he's right to play, we'll play him. So we'll give him as long as we possibly can. But this session will be really important to see how he goes, and if he's right, he'll play. But if there's any doubt, he won't.
Calf's normally a bit longer, Brad, if it's torn anyway. Is it just a tightness or strain or?
Yeah, well, we didn't think, the scans came back that there was a little bit of damage there, but we didn't think it was significant. But there's always the risk that it could become something more significant, so we certainly won't take any risks with him. He's a really explosive player, and we've got to make sure that his strengths are that he's got pace and he's got agility. He's got to be able to function at his absolute optimum. Otherwise, there's no point playing him anyway. So, we'll hopefully will come up, but this session will tell.
Is that pace going to be particularly important against a side like the Dockers? Some of the other players it down and making it contested to the style?
I think it's important. I think there are a lot of things that are important against Fremantle. I think the number one being you've got to be always, it's the number one against any side, but you've got to be able to win the ball in a contest. And even if you can do that, you've got to be able to regain and retain your composure against their fanatical pressure, of which last week against Richmond was outstanding. And the second half of the year, Ross has really got them playing a terrific brand of footy that is very hard to counter. So the challenge is there for us.
Brad, the types of teams you've been playing over the last 10 weeks, probably off the question I said before about how they're stealing up sort of thing at the right end of the season too. Probably shown that consistency against better sides for the first time under you probably for a long period of time.
Yeah, I don't think it's we've been working on a lot of things for probably 3 years, and some of those things take time. So and probably concurrently with that, our list is starting to mature a little bit. We've still got a way to go, but it seems like 50 gamers are popping up every second week. So that's a good sign for us that we've got continuity in our team, but we're also getting players up who feel like they're starting to establish themselves as bona fide AFL players now. So you know, again, that continuity's been important.
What about Pavlich? He seems like such a huge focal point for their attack. I mean, how much time do you concentrate on him at the expense of sort of looking at other players in the forward line?
Look, I think, you know, we'll judge their forward line as a unit. He's obviously a key component of that, but I think, you know, we've been burnt before. Kepler Bradley's jumped up, and I think he's kicked 4 1/4 against us before. So, you know, we've got a lot of respect for him, and Chris Mayne's been in great form, and when he gets a shot at goal, he doesn't miss. So, you know, I think they've got a lot of players that can be potentially damaging in there, and Pavlich is clearly the focal point. They go to him more than anyone else, but you know, that's for good reason, because he generally gets the job done. So, you know, it'll be another challenge for our back six, but they've been standing up pretty well under, you know, some considerable pressure over probably the last 3 months.
Bradley, on a lighter note, there appears to be some Carlton supporters mounting a little campaign to barrack for you this weekend to beat Fremantle. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, first time in a long time I think they've been in our corner, but yeah, look, there are going to be the obvious scenarios that are going to be played out over the next couple of weeks, and the what ifs, and, you know, people talking about who may play who in the finals. I mean, it's you know, for us, we're not in a position to start thinking about those sorts of things, and, you know, we're in the position where, you know, we've been fighting to get to this position all year, and we're still fighting to make sure that we consolidate a position in the 8, and, you know, we've got a long way to go before we can start comparing ourselves to sides that are genuine, you know, finals contenders.
Does it give you any joy that Carlton supporters might actually be thinking like that?
I don't give it too much thought, to be honest. I mean, it's great. It's great fodder for the supporters, and, you know, it'll be terrific for the TV stations to have a bit of fun with. But you know, our focus is on, you know, what is we think is going to be a finals atmosphere in terms of pressure around the ball. You know, if we do play finals and we're playing against you know, really good sides, then there's no better preparation than play Fremantle, because I think they're pressuring the opposition as well as anyone at the moment.
Not your department, Brad, but how good a get would Ben Buckley be to be the boss of this football club?
Oh, well, I think anyone who speaks of Ben Buckley speaks of him with the highest regard. So I think anyone of that calibre would be fantastic for our club. And look, I think it's just terrific that that our club's being spoken of in glowing terms, and, you know, that even people of the calibre of Ben Buckley are being linked with our club. So I think that's a good thing. You're right. I'm not in a position to make those judgments. That's not my area of the business. But certainly everyone who talks about Ben Buckley speaks about him with very high regard.
Brad, much has been made of your ability to score heavily this year. How pleased were you with the effort to keep Collingwood to 8 goals last week?
Really pleased. I think that you know, sometimes people can get a little bit carried away, or they can tend to stereotype you as a particular type of team. And, you know, we've played a style that you know, we think that is sustainable and can be successful. But you know, people talk about the free-flowing nature and the exciting brand of footy. Well, you know, Collingwood kicked the first 4 goals of the game on the weekend, and then we managed to keep them to only another 4 for the rest of the game. So, you know, I think that was a really pleasing aspect for us, and something we've gradually been improving all year.